hearing about stress probably is stressing you out already. However, since chronic stress can be detrimental to our health, it is important that we understand how it impacts us, along with some ways to manage it. Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Self-Care Matters with VeeBee, a channel dedicated to the promotion of self-care. Today I'm talking about chronic stress, how it impacts your mind and body, how to identify that you're experiencing it, and as always, I will share at the end. So far we have talked about eustress or good stress, which basically gives you a rush of energy so that you can deal with any threats. We've also talked about the bad stress, the short-term sort of, stress that can keep you going. And today we are going to be talking about the ugly or the chronic stress. I will put links in the description box for the other videos in case you missed them. So basically, chronic stress is the constant, persistent stress over an extended period of time that wears people down and slowly but surely destroys minds, bodies, and lives. And I mean it when I say it does destroy minds, bodies, and lives. I've seen it happen. The stress of something that you cannot accept or change, but you have to live with, such as a troubled marriage, a job stress, financial stress, dysfunctional relationships. These are the kinds of things that can cause chronic stress. So one experiences it when one does not see a way out of a miserable situation. This is when hopelessness and helplessness set in, and they truly begin to change your mind, your body, and also your behavior and personality. The worst part is that we get so used to it that it becomes our normal. We do not even pay attention to it. But this is the kind of stress that causes the most destruction. It has been associated with high blood pressure, high cholesterol, type 2 diabetes, heart disease, and even compromised immunity. I remember some real stressful times in my life when I was really sleepwalking through life, and I came down with shingles. And it just, when I look back, it amazes me that I was just so ignorant of what was happening to me. In any case, part of my goal is that other people can learn from my mistakes. So I hope you are either already paying attention to yourself, or through this you will get more motivation to do that. So I will do separate videos on chronic diseases and chronic stress, I guess in the next 2-3 weeks. During chronic stress, what happens to our body is that it is in a constant state of physiological arousal. over perceived threats, which are sort of, numerous and non-life threatening, right? And because of that ongoing release of hormones, our relaxation response does not get a chance to kick in before we get, another hit from another stressor. So we are in a constant sort of state of stress, experiencing the stress response. Our chronic stress also has a large sort of adverse impact on mental health. It can create increased anxiety, as we may begin to experience repeated stressors through anticipation before they even happen. Think of a situation where you're dreading to either have a confrontation, let's say with a coworker or with your partner, where you play the thing over and over in your head, experiencing the stress response even before the actual event actually happens, right? So you are exposing yourself to the stress response even before getting exposed to the stressful situation. So that's how anxiety begins to work. So let's briefly look at some of the signs and symptoms of chronic stress. Hopefully, if you find any of these signs and symptoms in and around you, you will be able to identify it and do something about it. As you may recall, stress impacts our physiology, our thoughts, feelings, and behaviors, right? So at physiological level, you may experience headaches, fatigue, sleep issues, which may impact your memory, your learning, your energy level, your motivation. You may experience neck and shoulder tension, restlessness, digestive issues, which can lead to, nutritional absorption and those kinds of things as well. And even I've seen social isolation, where people do not feel comfortable going out. You may experience pounding heart, frequent colds. You may become more accident prone because you may be distracted. You may grind your teeth. You may experience jaw pain because you may clench your teeth. Especially sometimes people do that at night as well. You may experience fluctuation in your weight and even in your appetite. You may find yourself not being able to eat or eating a lot more than your usual because you're trying to find comfort through food. People have been also known to try and cope through, unhealthy ways of coping, but coping nonetheless through alcohol, drugs, and tobacco and that sort of thing. At mental level, you may find that you are becoming more forgetful, more confused, you have dull senses, you may experience lethargy, poor concentration, low productivity, boredom. You may become more sort of, negative, where your self-perception or attitude becomes negative. And this is for sure not the time to become self-critical. Please be compassionate to yourself. I mean, at any given time, but especially when you're in distress. At emotional level, you may experience anxiety, irritability, low mood, bad temper, and these things especially can really damage relationships. So it's not just one sign and symptom. it is something that has unintended consequences that are long-term and long-lasting as well. So you may find yourself involved in sort of excessive worrying, crying spells, or easily discouraged. You may experience behaviors, especially social behaviors, that are changed, where you may become more withdrawn. You don't want to see your friends anymore. You want to be by yourself. You don't really enjoy things that you used to enjoy. You might become more resentful, more nagging. You may lash out at people. And these are the things that can turn people off, right? You may also experience lowered sex drive, increased use of alcohol, tobacco, drugs, or emotional eating of comfort foods. So as we know, stress impacts us at the level of mind, body, thoughts, and behaviors. We can target them at any of those levels to disrupt the stress response. So today's practical strategy has to do with working with your thoughts and behaviors. I'm talking about AAA approach today. So AAA will give you options and a choice. A valid choice may not be the outcome that you desire, but it can get you the best possible outcome under the circumstances and also minimize your stress level. And that's what we are looking for when we want to minimize our chronic stress. We do get to choose how we respond to them. So this AAA approach gives you 3 A's to choose from: avoid, alter, or accept. This is especially helpful in situations where you are facing multiple stressors, especially where you may choose to avoid some, alter another, or still accept another one. It seems like common sense, but believe me, it's not that commonly used. Each time you use this approach, you want to ask yourself the following 3 questions. So let's say you want to use avoid. You want to ask yourself, is this a positive way of coping? Is this going to help in the long run? For example, if you are using avoid all the time, are you just putting something off unpleasant? And it may not be the best sort of, strategy in the long run. And it may not be the best sort of positive way of coping either. So that's why you want to ask yourself these 3 questions. Is this the appropriate thing to do? Is this a positive way of coping? And is this going to help in the long run, right? So avoid basically means you want to avoid unnecessary stress. Sounds like common sense, but it is not so common again. By learning to say no, avoid unnecessary stress. Try and get out of disease to please. Believe me, I've been there. Learn to say no and stick to your boundaries. Avoid pushy, stressful people. Prioritize your to-do list and drop things that are not really necessary. Alter it. Alter it by shifting your external environment in some way. Say by either removing the environment or removing yourself from the environment. or maybe removing parts of the environment. So for example, if each holidays you end up, creating unpleasant memories with your extended family and you dread going there and all of that, then either remove yourself from the situation or sort of create such an environment where you have some control over how much you get involved and how you can pull yourself out if you need to. I've also found, and I was actually reading this somewhere, I can't recall where it was mentioned that making some changes in your immediate environment somehow helps, and I can attest to that. I kind of, move my furniture around or something just to, change the environment or the look, and that seems to help as well. Maybe you can try and see and let me know if that works for you. And last, and probably the hardest, is to accept. Sometimes, whether we like it or not, we end up in situations that we cannot avoid or alter. This pandemic, for example, right? In this case, accepting the situation obviously is the best option, but not the easiest to do. There is some evidence that neurobiologically, people who accept situations that they cannot change tend to feel less stressed. And to me, that does make sense, as swimming against the stream would tire one out. So try and accept things and people you cannot change, rather than desperately hoping or wishing that they were different. I believe accepting also frees you. Excuse me, let me just grab a drink. Sorry about that. I believe accepting also frees you up to use your energy for more productive things. Accepting also has another piece to it, which kind of helps you grow from that acceptance, and that is adapting. Adapting is where you would change your internal thought processes, how you think about things, how you think about people and situations. Also, how you interact with people, how you interact with the source of your stress. Also, by reframing your problem. That can give you a new perspective. Think about an old picture. Nothing great about it. Put a new frame around it. All of a sudden, it looks different. Similarly, when you reframe a situation or a problem, you can come up with different solutions for the same problem that you've been not able to find solutions for. So today I discussed how short-term stress helps you by giving you a rush of energy and may act as a motivator. However, frequent exposure to stress hormone can damage your physical and mental health. Chronic stress over time begins to slow down non-survival related functions and organs. Functions such as sleep, memory, learning, digestion, and reproduction. It also impacts our relationships, productivity, and quality of life. It can cause anxiety and depression, making it really crucial that we learn to neutralize it. In my opinion, AAA approach, which is similar to the Serenity Prayer, is a helpful coping strategy. I hope that you find the serenity to accept the things that you cannot change, courage to change the things that you can, and wisdom time. I hope to see you again soon. Till then, please be kind to yourself and to one another. Bye for now.